Maynor at this time?
I have one with
Okay.
NBC 13 in Birmingham.
Okay, sure.
Obviously, I'm in Birmingham, so the biggest thing for us, Magic City Classic, Coach. It's going to be a little different this year. I just met with some of the people that are setting it up. No tailgating, the band's different. But how excited are your guys every year? And is this going to be different, or how do you guys adjust to an event like the Magic City Classic?
Well, for us, it's always about the game, and for everybody else, the alumni, the fans, it's always about the tailgating and the parties and things of that nature. So for us, we always have to get our team prepared and try to put the best performance that we can and come away with a W. So that's not going to change for us. Coach Hill-Eley is going to get his guys ready. I got to get my guys ready. And whether it's 60,000 or 2,000, whether it's people tailgating or not, we got to be ready to play football, and we will. I think it'll be another great football game.
And just a quick follow-up, what is that energy like? I'm new to Birmingham this year. I was down in Dothan, so I've heard about it before. But do you hear that energy when you're coaching on the sidelines, even from outside the stadium? Is that going to be different this year?
It'll probably be different, just because you'll be able to hear and yell. You'll be able to hear coaches yelling on the field and things of that nature, where you won't be able to do in the past because of so many people inside, so many people outside. But we really don't really pay attention to the people outside to hear the noise coming from the outside, because it's more like tailgating and it's low. But so many people inside, you can't really hear outside anyway. So we're just focused on in between the lines, and we kind of block that stuff out, That's for everybody else's enjoyment.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that question. And Coach Maynor, again, thank you for taking some time to join us here on the call. We would ask if you have a question, if you could please be so kind to put it over there in the chat, and we'll go in order of the questions as they're asked, or use the raise your hand feature, whichever is more convenient for you. With that being said, we do have a question from Jim Kleinpeter with the Baton Rouge Advocate.
Hi, Coach. You had a unique opportunity to watch a couple of your conference rivals play each other. I just wanted to get some of your impressions from the game. And I know coaches are worried about playing in the spring and the lack of preparation time that you had. But how did you think the teams looked? And just some, observations from watching that game.
Well, I watched the Jackson and Evan Waters game, and I thought Jackson looked good. But, we supposed to look good against NAIA teams, and they did. They did what they supposed to do. They beat them 53-0. So I thought they looked good in their first game, and Coach Sanders' first game coaching. So I thought they looked good. And then the Southern Alabama State game, I thought that was a real good football game. It was a defensive game. Both defenses was flying around. They got a lot of turnovers. But they had a lot of correctable things. They had a bad snap, and then they had some fumbles. So all they got to do is get those things cleaned up. As a football coach, those are the things that you're looking at, things that are correctable. And what I saw in those games were things that is correctable. So even the fumble at the end of the game, the muff punt, you get on the 10, you don't back up. He actually touched the ball at the 6-yard line. So that's a coachable situation right there. That's why you tell them don't back up at the 10. And then anytime you got any danger and feeling that ball with other people around, you just get out of the way and let it go. And if it go to the one, it go to the one. If it get in the end zone, it does. So that's a coachable situation, and they'll learn from and they get better from that. But overall, it was a great game. I thought both teams looked good and played hard.
Did you learn anything for your own preparation, since you still have to play that first game? Did you see anything there that's going to help you in your next game?
I don't think so. It's first game, and I think it's just first game jitters and first game mistakes. Every team you make your most improvements from your first game to your second game. So I'm pretty sure our first game, we're going to make some mistakes. We're going to have some first game jitters, and so will our opponent if it's their first game. So it's just natural. First game, you're gonna make some mistakes. You're playing under lights, and they keeping score for the first time. So it's just natural.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate your patience, folks. I've got 10:15 on my clock here. So we will go ahead and begin to take some questions here in the queue. It looks like I do see Coach Hill-Eley. Coach Eley, can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Hey, thank you so much, Coach, for taking some time out, obviously on a busy Monday to join us. Looking forward to speaking with you and getting some questions from our media. Once again, media, if you do have a question for Coach, if you could please be so kind to put a message over there in the chat or use the raise your hand feature here on Zoom. With that being said, Coach, if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing at home against the Southern Jaguars.
Yes, we took on those Jaguars on Friday. Came up short, at the end, but it was a great contest. Great atmosphere for football. Kind of, out of normal playing in the spring, but, as soon as the ball kicked off, the young men and everybody adapted in just like it was the fall. So the calendar didn't matter. Had, a lot of guys that stepped up for us, young guys that didn't get the opportunity because of the pandemic to practice or play last year, but actually went into the game and I thought did a good job with some mistakes here or there that we'll clean up as we move forward. Again, the mistakes that we made, when you're going against a team like Southern, 2 times Western champions, and always in the top echelon of the conference, you can't make those kind of mistakes and expect to come out with a win. So, we'll clean up that stuff and get healthy during this bye week and look for the next opponent.
Appreciate those opening comments, Coach. We'll now open it up for questions. Our first question will come from Ryan Hennessy.
Hey, Coach. I'm out of NBC 13 in Birmingham. So obviously in Birmingham, the big game, the Magic City Classic every year. This year, a little different because of COVID-19 pushback, no bands. It's going to be a different atmosphere. I talked to the people who put on the event earlier last week, and they said it's going to be around under 20,000. What kind of difference is that going to make for you guys? And kind of a second question is, what is that atmosphere usually like with you on the sidelines? Do you hear that 100,000 plus out, even outside the stadium? Is that going to be different this year?
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be different as you pull into Legion Field and with the crowds on both sides of the street, all through the parking lot. All those things are, going to be different. The stands from, the 60, 70,000 that's in the stands and the band, those things will be different. But, again, most of those things are mainly for fans. The game will be played on the field, and I'm quite sure Coach Maynard going to have his guys ready. We'll have our guys ready, and that same grudge match will continue, when we get a chance to play them in that Magic City Classic. A lot of the, stuff that the guys are used to, the concerts and all that other kind of stuff, and just the atmosphere. Over the last year and a half, I think they've made an adjustment to expect these things not to happen. So, but I don't think it'll change our contest.
Appreciate that question. Our next question comes from Jim Kleinpeter.
Hi, Coach. I cover Southern, so I wanted to ask you a couple of things about Southern and playing against them. Jordan Lewis had a pretty good game against y'all, rushing the passer, and I was wondering how much of a part of the game plan it was to try to keep him off the quarterbacks.
Well, we knew that if we got behind the chains, Coach Odums normally put him in, and you're talking about a state champion hurdler that's up front, even though he's 190, 200 pounds. Talking about a kid that his get off is unbelievable. We had 2 redshirt tackles, so we knew that if we got behind the chains, that their work would be cut out for us. And we tried different things of chipping them, slowing them down, and some of the stuff was successful. But the kid is a great athlete. He, when we started chipping him, he started spinning inside and and still making plays, getting pressure. And he was disruptive, no question about it. And those guys, as I told him Saturday, you got to grow up fast. You're going against a grown man that's probably one of the best ends in this conference, and he has great sportsmanship. A lot of times we, see these guys and you see them and the fans don't get to see that sportsmanship. He hit one of my guys on the sideline and helped him up. And, even just his dialogue of talking to the officials. That's one thing I like to point out is that kid he's not just a good athlete, he's a good sportsman. And I told him that as he was coming off the field that, is you can play this game and also have great sportsmanship. And he exemplified that. And it was good to see in that student athlete. So that's definitely a plus for what Coach Odums is doing with those young men and what they're doing in that program.
And one other question about Ladarius Skelton. Y'all did a fairly good job of limiting how he hurt y'all, even running and passing. But he's a kind of a dangerous type of player, I guess, right?
Right. And we definitely contained him some, but the 3 times he got out, it was on 3rd down. We should have got off the field. If we make those plays on him, now it's a punt and we get another opportunity. But that kid made guys miss on a fumble, took off and got the 1st down, 15 yards here, 20 yards there. And he's just a great athlete with the ball in his hand. And again, you're talking about the young man that was in one of the top leagues in rushing in the conference last year with being a quarterback. So, he's tough and he makes the play. He makes enough plays for them to win.
Thank you, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Coach. We have a follow-up question from Ryan Hennessy.
Hey, Coach. I was at the Sanford game on Saturday, and the athletic director, I know obviously you guys are in Sanford, but the athletic director went out and said, he was skeptical about spring football, but he said after looking at it, he thinks it could really be something that could be potentially a permanent move. What do you think about how has it been this year, spring football? Do you see it potentially helping your program, getting more exposure? Just wanted to maybe expand on that a little bit.
Well, looking at it and looking at the pros and cons of it, playing spring football, the conference is able to get this ESPN contract because it's normally a dead period for sports. For a lot of our fans, you have your golf and baseball and those things are coming, but it kind of gives you that spring setting that I guess the country has been trying to find for years. So the opportunities and the pluses of it, being able to play in the spring, you would have to make that adjustment for those seniors that are wanting to get in the NFL draft for the following year, which could definitely be done. But the pluses of the revenue strings and everything that could come in, spring football is definitely a win. And I think, a lot of commissioners and a lot of folks would probably look at that to see how you can make that happen. There's a strain on your university because right now we have every sport playing. So that means you got to increase your people in the administrative office from your SIDs so that you can still get the same coverage, your trainers, because you have 12 and 14 teams on and off. But the opportunities and the revenues that can be generated in the spring, it probably would never be matched in the fall.
Just a quick follow-up on that. You mentioned the NFL, though. That's got to be something that's the opposite a little bit. Does that hurt you guys trying to get kids into the NFL with the spring?
No. Well, see, right now, with the way that they have it is that we're playing spring and we're coming right back and playing in the fall. So your senior class get a benefit because they get 11 more games to play in the fall because these games technically don't count against their eligibility. So either way, April is going to come every time like it does for the draft. You would just have to find a way to maneuver their clock, and that's the eligibility clock, so that they'll still get that opportunity for the draft. Because technically, it would be as simple as if you don't get drafted, that doesn't mean you're not eligible to play your following spring and then be done with it.
Appreciate it, Coach.
I have time for a few more questions for Coach Hill-Eley with Alabama State. Our next question will come from Dr. Mike Prince with the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
Good morning, Coach. How are you this morning, sir?
Good morning there, sir.
All right. Well, good to see you again, my friend. Wanted to give for overall analysis of your quarterback play, and I heard you talk about some of the adjustments that your line had to make. But being the first game out of the gate, how would you rate the overall performance of your line and your quarterback play from this past Friday?
I think they all got better as the game went on, and definitely Ryan Nettles. Nettles, kid that played at Hillcrest Evergreen, and the last time he played was his junior year of high school. He didn't play his senior year. The last hit he took tore his knee up. So we knew going into the game that it was going to take some things to settle him down. And we was just hoping he didn't make any mistakes that would really put us out of it. And, he threw an interception for a touchdown. And, when you got quarterbacks doing that, they could go either way how they responded. But he responded. The plays that he didn't make in the first half, he was making them in the second half. He was looking downfield on the scramble, extending plays, and making a couple connections on some touchdowns. The offensive line, the same. The pressure that we were getting in the first half, those guys, as the game went on, they started eliminating some pressure. You saw them trying to figure some things out. And I think the great thing about it is that group, will be together for the next 3 or 4 years, and they got a lot of room to grow, and they'll be better each week and each year as they move forward.
Coach, we will be respectful of your time today. Your 10-minute block has concluded, and as always, Coach, we appreciate you taking some time to join us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you. We will go ahead and get started. I see Coach Odums is on the line with us. Coach Odums, first off, good morning, sir. And if you could please start us out with an opening statement about your team's most recent outing at Alabama State.
Well, first of all, it was good to be able to be playing football again. It was tough. It was challenging, but I thought it was a great job of character shown by our young men throughout this entire process of getting to the game. Dr. Hill had his football team ready to play. They're an outstanding football team. Very, very good. Very good. They're going to be a good football team this year. Defensively, they as advertised. We haven't played those guys in a while, and that was the first time we've been on the field against them, I think, since 2016. But you can see the growth. You can see the growth in the team from 2019 to now. They're getting better. And you can see that they're an outstanding football team and pose a great challenge. It was tough, but I thought our guys answered the bell. I think we showed the grit and the toughness and a championship pedigree. In these conditions, when you go down 21-14 in the fourth quarter on the road and you don't really have anybody to pick you up, or from a crowd standpoint, you have to rely on each other. And for those guys to rally in the fourth quarter and play their best football late says a lot about our football team and the character of this football team. I thought the coaches did an outstanding job. We made some halftime adjustments. We was able to make some plays, but that was a tough football game. Good thing we played on Friday, needed the extra day to recover, but we came out pretty healthy. As usual, some guys will be banged up, but I thought our group played well considering we hadn't played in 447 days. We made some mistakes. Turnovers was a big issue for us, ball security. Again, we didn't hit as much during count. We didn't take guys down to the ground because we know that you got to get them to the gate. So keeping those guys up probably led to some of the turnovers and the ball security because we just didn't bang like that. But I think having this first game under our belt, as we get prepared for the second game, I think we'll see tremendous growth. I thought the quarterback play, I thought it was good. I thought he made some good decisions. And then I think he made a very, very bad decision right there. When we was backed up, we got to throw that ball away. But I thought his growth, he took the next step in his play. I thought Devon Bean played extremely well. He's a leader back there for us. His protection. They brought several different blitzes at us, and I really thought the running backs and the offensive line did an outstanding job. Inconsistent, I think that's the biggest thing, is that we shot ourselves in the foot. We moved the football, had some drives going, but turnovers were drive killers. Defensively, we had We had the big play right before half that gave them some momentum. I thought we had a chance to play very, very well in the first half on defense. I thought those guys had a solid game plan. I thought they executed very well. And what can I say? I mean, Jordan Lewis was fantastic in that football game as applying pressure to the quarterback. But I thought defensively we were locked in, and the communication was pretty good for a first game. We missed some fits during the running game, which you expect early on in the season, but a lot of mistakes happen that can be corrected and will be corrected. And I think the best is in front of us. We just got to keep getting better every day.
Coach Odums, we appreciate that opening comment, sir. We will now open it up for questions from our media that are on the call with us today. And our first question will come from Jim Kleinpeter with the Baton Rouge Advocate.
Hey, Coach. The offense overall, it did look a little bit different. It looked like you did just a few things, but you had talked about the tight ends, and it came to pass that the tight end made a big play. Would you just talk about the difference in the offense and how it showed up on the field Friday?
That's a new look for you there, Jim. You got a new look going, I see. So they are, Jim. They gonna be a big boost for us offensively. I think as they get comfortable again, that was Perkins' first game. He didn't play much. He was redshirted last year. Buddy, he played a little bit early on. Travis Tucker. We didn't see Ethan Howard, but I think as the season continues to go on, I think that tight end position is going to pay dividends for the success of our offense. We're excited about it. I think we got 4 outstanding tight ends. Those guys are going to get better, and we're going to have them for a long time. So those guys will be back. Ethan Howard's a true freshman, and Perk's a redshirt freshman. Buddy's a sophomore, and Tucker's a junior. So we're going to have those guys for a while. So that position, as they continue to grow and get better, Coach Brown is doing an outstanding job. Tutelage under those young guys, man. He's doing an outstanding job of mentoring those young men. So as they continue to improve, I think our offense will continue to improve as well.
Coach, would you also talk about Jordan and what he's improved? He's still a little bit light for a defensive end, but where was his improvement? It was such a breakout game for him. It kind of almost as many sacks as he had last year.
It's just one-on-one. He's explosive. His first step is unbelievable, and he's lightning quick. He's fast. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I think it's a lot of things that we're going to be able to do with him and to utilize that speed in other areas of the football game. But I think when he comes off the ball, you see that the explosiveness and relentless pursuit of the football. And he's one of the best. Even though he's about 205 pounds, he plays bigger than what he is. And you got to count for him because, I mean, he's one of the best. He's one of the best I've seen pass rush the quarterback. And that was an unbelievable game for him. And I hope he can continue to have that kind of success going forward.
What kind of improvements has he made? Is he in better shape or is he stronger? What did he do since last year that's improved his physical play?
I would say more his football IQ. I think he understands what guys are trying to do to him and understand that a lot better. He understands how they're trying to block him. He got a good idea of what a guy's doing, what's his position, and what moves work versus what moves won't work. I think he got a good understanding of the offensive tackle's body position and what he can do to counter it. And it don't take much. If you blink, you're going to miss. He's fast. And I don't think people realize how fast he is until you get in the game. And that first step is by you. And he can do it. He can do it. I would say, though, his football IQ has gotten much, much better.
Okay.
Appreciate that, Coach. And now our next question comes from Jared Joseph.
Dawson, what do you think about what Brandon Hinton did? It seemed like he was the main target for the Jarris in the passing game. I know he had that hiccup with the fumble, but as far as his productivity in the air attack, how do you think he performed?
Well, we've always had production out of that slot position. I think B. Hinton is one of those guys that's been in our program. He's going to continue to get better. He had an okay game. I think you take the fumble away, it's a better game. But he wasn't always there. I think there was some other things maybe been bothering him or going on coming into that game for his family. Those guys had a childhood friend that passed earlier that week. So we were praying for them, and he tried to put that behind him and go out and play. But I mean, it's a lot of weight. It's a lot of weight, and I understood it, and we stand with him. But I know that his best is in front of him. He wasn't happy about his performance because he wanted to really play well being back in the state of Alabama. But he's going to play. He's going to be good for us. I thought he caught the ball well. Now it's just about the decision-making. And I know he'll be better this week.
And just from an evaluation standpoint, also with Ladarius Skelton, it seemed like he was really efficient as far as the throws he had to make, minus his own fumble, of course. What do you think about his productivity and both the dual threat ability he's continuing to showcase even in the season opener?
Just management, just decision-making. That's going to be always the thing. You got at that position, you got to make good decisions. The ball touches your hand every play, so your decision-making has to be at the top. If he make good decisions and throw the ball on time, we're going to have a chance. I thought the ball he threw to Speedy, Kendrick Jones down the middle of the field was a catchable ball. I thought the one he threw the Speedy on the sideline was a bad throw. So just got to get consistent in our delivery, consistent in our decision-making. And as he do that, man, he's going to continue to get better. But I thought he just picked off where he'd been playing the last time we were out. And if he can continue to get better, which I know he will, and the same for the team, I think we'll continue to get better. But as he goes, so will our offense. But we got some other guys if it don't go according to plan. But I really like what I saw from him. I thought he played well. We made some mistakes, but those were first game mistakes, and hopefully we don't make them in the second game. But he got a chance. He got a chance to do something very special if he can just keep improving on the decision-making.
All right, our next question will come from Kevin Batiste, and he will be followed by Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. Next question, Kevin Batiste.
Hey, Coach. All throughout this spring, you've been preaching about, making sure you guys were in football shape. So how would you evaluate their conditioning level in Friday's game?
I think from when we got to the fourth quarter, Kevin, you could see that we hit another gear, and that's a testament to their condition. I think you're not able to finish games in that type of atmosphere during these times if you're not in condition. But I thought our mental conditioning was where it needed to be. And that's something we've been harping on because we knew that we was going to be in an environment where you weren't going to have the support of Jaguar Nation. You weren't going to have support of the human jukebox. So it was going to be you and the players and everybody else that were there supporting you. And it was tough, but they found it in the fourth quarter. And that's one thing that I told them I was very proud of them about is how in that type of environment, you go down 21-14 and you look at each other and they're on the sideline talking about, don't worry about it. We go get this done. And that's the mental aspect of the game that I think we take some leaps considering where we have been in the past. But I think that's what I'm more proud of is that mental conditioning that showed up in that fourth quarter.
Next question comes from Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. He will be followed by Jim Klein-Peter. Next question, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick.
Coach, Jalen Ivey played pretty well for you guys on Friday night. How excited have you been about his potential, his growth that he's made, and how big will his impact be for the success of the defense?
Well, it's kind of hard to put all your attention on Jordan Lewis because Ivy is as advertised. Those guys are a great 1-2 combination, and we knew coming into the season that our bookends would have a lot to say about how good we're going to be on defense. And it's early, and I still think they're going to have a lot to say about it. Ivy's relentless. He's unbelievable. His hand-eye coordination is very good. I think he has a martial arts background, so he's very, very polished in his hand combat, and he know how to work his hands and feet together. That's a lost art in pass rushing. You have to understand that your hands and feet work together. You got to understand balance and counterbalance of the individuals that you're going against. And I think Ivy is one of those guys that he studies film. And I think he's helping Jordan Lewis in that aspect of getting prepared for games and understanding what it is we're asking these guys to do. So the sky's the limit because everybody's going to put their attention on Jordan Lewis, but Jalen Ivey is going to have a lot to say about how good our defense is going to be going forward this spring.
Next question comes from Jim Klein-Peter.
Yeah, Coach, I noticed that Tamari Smith didn't start, and I understand that Robert Rim was playing better in practice. Would you talk a little bit about that issue and your secondary play overall?
No, T. Smith was a starter, but he was having some issues with his foot, so he tried to go. But again, him and B. Hinton are really good friends, and again, they both had the same childhood friend. And Smith missed some time early on in the week, and it's just clearing your head and being focused. And he still was dealing with a foot issue that he could have played, but we thought it was best that we hold him. And Rim stepped up and played extremely well. I think people got a chance to see Glenn Brown and Robert Rim out there these guys came into the SWAC and started as true freshmen. So we know what we have in those two guys. We know what we have in T. Smith. When we get all our pieces out there and we get healthy, this team has a chance to be really, really good. And hopefully this week we can continue to put those pieces of the puzzle together. Looking forward to see how T. Smith move around this evening. And then we'll get ready to go into our work days on Tuesday and Wednesday and see if we can get a little bit better. But that's the reason Robert Rim got the chance to play and start that game.
What about the safeties? I know you talked about that was an area where you were looking for somebody to step up. Did you like what you saw from your safeties?
I thought Jacoby and Chase played really, really well. I thought Chase Foster had an outstanding game. He made some mistakes. We talked about those. And this football team, we haven't been together in this type of environment. So it's some things that we did in that game that are not accustomed to who we are. And we pointed those things out. But that comes from not having the all season that we like to have. And we address some things and we clean some things up. And I think our guys understand that. We've been together a long time. So these guys understand what this program is about and how we carry ourselves in it. And we're very professional in what we do and how we play football. And we model ourselves as the Jaguar way. And that's what's important. I thought Chase Foster stepped up and played Jaguar football. He played very, very well. Now we got to clean up some things, but I look forward to seeing those guys continue to improve.
Did you have to leave anybody home because of a positive test, or did everybody make the trip that you expected?
Yes, we had everybody on the trip. We didn't leave anybody home because we had some test issues.
We will be respectful of your time, Coach Odom, so we will wrap this up. We'll take two more questions. This next question will go to Dr. Mike Prince. Ms. Prince, I believe you might be on mute, sir.
Good morning, Coach. How are you today, sir?
Doing outstanding, Dr. Prince.
All right. Well, congratulations on your win. And I know as a coach, you always have your head on a swivel. What are you looking for to be that leaps and bounds of improvement from this past week to this upcoming week for your squad?
Well, just consistent in our play. Got to eliminate the big plays. I think on defense, we gave up, 5 or 6 plays. Offensively, the turnovers, better with our ball security. Special teams, we had the the snap infraction. We had a bad snap at the end. Just cleaning up and getting polished with our operation and just making sure that from an offense, defense, and special team standpoint, we're operating on all cylinders, but those cylinders are operating smoothly. And that's what it's all about. That's what I talked to the team about. Discipline. We believe ourselves to be one of the better disciplined teams in this conference. We had 7 penalties, so 51 yards. That's not to my liking. We did some things that were out of character, but they understand. It's one way it's easy to make some of those corrections after a win, and hopefully we get those corrections made. The coaches understand. We understand the expectation, but we're just looking for a smoother operation going into game 2 and less big plays from defense and more big plays out of offense.
Okay, Coach, and my final question for you, I heard you saying that this was by far one of your most challenging games to prepare for in your football coaching career. Was it due to the mental stress or the emotional stress of not playing in over 400 days, the anxiety, not knowing exactly what you had on the field per se? You know what it looks like. Everybody looks good in shorts and sweatpants. But was that part of this anxiety build-up for this game season opener for you?
I think it was every category that you just mentioned. It was, you can't imagine the amount of pressure that's being placed on individuals, and not just from a football standpoint, but life. We're not just dealing with playing football. We're dealing with everyday events of life. And some of these young men have had family members that have been affected, close family members, aunts, uncles, parents. It's been a lot to deal with and a lot to budget. And just dealing with the unknown. You don't know what's next. You go to a hotel, you check in. I don't know if somebody go wake up, Friday morning and tell me, hey, coach, I don't feel good. And now what does that do to your program? So all these what ifs, all these unknowns are something you got to deal with until you get to kickoff. I tell people all the time, it's every day. This is not a week-to-week challenge. This is a day-to-day challenge. From injuries, from positive tests, from people just being sick. This is a challenge, and it weighs on you as the head coach. But what I do know is that a family that prays together stays together, and they got a better chance of overcoming whatever adversity they go through. And we lean on each other. That's why it's all about discipline for us. That's why after the game, it was so draining to get past the first game, because again, it's the first time we've been on the road in these kind of conditions. So not knowing what the hotel situation ins and outs of it is going to be, making sure that we're following all the protocols that are in place, dotting our I's, crossing our T's, making sure the guys are masked up, making sure we're doing all that we can to be as safe as we can around each other and others. And I thought our guys did a tremendous job. I called the hotel this morning and told them how thankful we are to have them in the service they provided. And in response, they said, Coach, anytime. I've never seen so many respectful guys. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take us being who we are in a disciplined aspect of life so that we can get to the next game. And if we do that, I think each week the pressure of what we felt week 1 will be less and less.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach Odums, we do appreciate your graciousness of your time as we did go over today. As always, we appreciate your time and look forward to speaking with you again on the next media session call.
No pressure, Willie. Seems like everybody got their questions asked today. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.